Boxing Media in association with Boxthrow. Shane Watson from SJAM out here at the London Bridge. We've got Solomon Dakers warming up shortly. Tell me about his opponent. I think it's his fourth fight. Is it the right step up? I think he's had 6 wins and 1 loss.
Yeah, he's a good opponent. He just come off a 10-round decision defeat to Eubank, who is a 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. Actually lost to Joe Joyce in the semi-finals at the last Olympics he competed in. He knocked everyone else out previously, apart from that guy, and I think he actually won one of the rounds on the scorecard. So he's obviously a game, tough guy, comes to win, comes to give it a go. I believe Solomon's quite a few levels above him, and I think you'll see that on Saturday night. But it's a good step up. His record's better than what it suggests, definitely as well. I mean, if you're not up to it, he'll beat you. He's like a better version of Sokolowski, in my opinion. So, which is a good step up for Sol, because he fought Sokolowski in his last fight. So it's a good little fight, especially coming off a long-term injury. Sol's coming off a long-term injury, been out almost a year. So it's a good fight and a good step up for him to take. The guy's never been dropped or even like momentarily hurt in his career. So definitely get some good rounds in, and it'd be impressive if Sol could get his be the first guy to stop Kevin. So it'd be a good fight.
Interesting. I'm going to put you on the spot. Obviously, at SJAM, I've got a lot of experience with the heavyweights. You know, it seems like most of the fighters you've got, I think, are heavyweights at the top of my head, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Where does Solomon kind of rank above them in regards to 3 fights in? How good is he compared to say Joyce and I can't remember his name, the Italian fella you've got as well?
Well, Guido and Joe have got massive amateur experience. Obviously, Joe achieving what he did in the amateurs, everyone knows. Guido is also an Olympian and fought in WSB. Sol slides right into that category really, because he fought in WSB, got some wins in WSB, beaten a lot of good operators over the years, medalists and all sorts. He's won medals himself. So he fits right in there. I mean, obviously Johnny Fisher has been learning on the job, but he's been learning rapidly, because even in sparring, he's having 50-50 spars with these guys. So there's no, obviously if we're talking about pedigrees and amateur and whatnot, Sol's right up there with all those guys. So, but like you say, like I said, Johnny Fisher's obviously learning on the job, but you wouldn't think so, because the way he spars, like he's sparring Derek Chisora this training camp, and spars Joe all the time, and sparred Tyson Fury, and he more than held his own in there. So he's just learning in his sparring sessions, but you wouldn't think he's less experienced, but you'd have to go with Sol's pedigree and stuff as an amateur, and who he spars regularly as a professional as well, like he spars AJ and that all the time. So
where is he compared to the other guys you've got, say 3 fights in when there were 3 fights in? Obviously Joe he excelled quite quickly, fighting guys winning records from his first fight in, but where does Solomon compare to the other 2 guys you've got?
Well, what is in Guido and Joe?
No, just as in how quickly do you think you can progress this guy?
Yeah. I mean, like with Sol, what he just needs is to be active. He's really struggled with activity. It's due to injury, by the way, not due to anything promotionally. They've been great with Sol, but so yeah, he just needs to be more active, and then we can really see where Sol's at. I mean, from sparring and stuff, it suggests that he's already at a very good level, and that he can mix it with many good guys already. But we'll see how he gets some more ring activity, then he can get his time in, and everything kind of comes together. And then you'll start to see more of Sol as a fighter, and it gives him a chance to bulk up as well. Because he had such a bad shoulder injury, he wasn't able to lift certain weights or anything for a while. He couldn't even lift up his right arm. So he beat Sokolowski clean with 1 arm. And he's very hard with 2 arms to beat, let alone with 1 arm. So especially in your 3rd professional fight. So, I think he's a very, very good heavyweight, but we'll see. The next year is going to be massive for Sol. We want him to fight for a title before the end of the year. I think Matchroom are planning to do a big Birmingham show before the end of the year. So I'd like to fight him for a title against someone like Cash Ali, maybe Fabio Wardley, maybe Lucas Brown, someone around that. Obviously, I actually rate Fabio Wardley and Cash Ali much better than Lucas Brown, by the way, but just someone with a decent name, and then we can push on from there and see where Sol goes, kind of thing. But so far, we'll deal with Kevin on Saturday night, and we'll move on from there.
Sound. Let's let him. Here he comes in. So just quick couple of questions on a couple of other matters. There's a lot of rumours online at the minute that Benn could be fighting Chris Eubank Jr. next. I don't know if it's true or if it's just Twitter rumours. Do you know anything about it?
I've heard things here and there. I don't think it's true, though. I really don't think it's true. I don't know what's going on with Chris Eubank Jr. and Sky Sports. I know that he was really pissed off about the negotiations with Kell Brook. I think that they wasted their time and held him back. I don't think it's a clever move on Conor Benn's behalf to go up to 160. And for your first fight at 160 for Chris Eubank Jr., who's actually a big middleweight. So, and I wouldn't even say Conor Benn's the biggest welterweight. So I find that very bizarre and odd. Obviously, it's a massive money fight, so I could see that side of it. But I think Conor Benn generates enough money as it is. I don't think he needs Chris Eubank Jr. And I just find it bizarre. If you're not fighting the top guys at welterweight because you're not ready, I don't see why you'd be ready to fight one of the top guys at middleweight. But I don't know. I think it's all talk and hype because his opponent announcement is probably not going to be as flattering as what everyone wants. So what they do is they talk it up and get loads of hype around it and get someone like Conor Benn to be talking about Eubank, and then there's loads of hype around whoever he fights next.
You sound like you've done it before. Last question. I see you put some tweets up about Terri Harper recently, saying that you feel that she's not improved. There's obviously rumours that she might get the Hannah Rankin fight, but it seems like there's a bidding war going on for Hannah Rankin between Sky and Eddie, who stood next to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, listen, I don't want to be overcritical because they get in the ring and do something that I would never have the balls to do. So I wasn't being rude or horrible. I really like Terri Harper, and she's achieved an enormous amount in the sport. In her eyes, she overachieved, but I think that's quite harsh. She's got the ability, she was a good amateur as well, and done amazing as a pro, and probably earned life-changing money. But I just think, and I'm just thinking more from like a background perspective, I just think a voluntary defence against Alicia Baumgardner, this coming off a really bad injury, sounds crazy. Like even, that was before she even had a name, so it wasn't even worth the risk, yeah? But that happened. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes before in matchmaking and stuff. And then but coming back against another tough opponent, and that was a tough fight, you know. You need a confidence booster after a defeat like that. Again, after coming off another injury and being at a new weight, and it was far from a confidence booster. And then, I mean, Hannah Rankin is a big girl. I mean, big girl, strong, and she's very tough. I just don't think stylistically it's the cleverest fight to make. Again, with someone that's confidence maybe not as high as it once was. But what do I know? These guys probably know a lot more than I do, and they've been around the sport a lot longer than me. I'm speaking from a fan's perspective. When I talk about boxing, unless it's involved with our guys, I'm just speaking as a fan. That's it, really.
Obviously, I'm sure Steffi Bull will have something to say about this, but you know, when you say she's not improved, tell me, like, break it down. Like, what do you think specifically that she's doing wrong in your opinion?
I just think she's getting caught with the same shots, but because she wasn't fighting Alicia, she's not getting stopped. Maybe she isn't getting hurt, because obviously the opposition's lesser, and maybe because she is stronger at the weight. I don't doubt that she was struggling at the weight at all. She's a very big girl for the old weight, but I just think it's the same mistakes are happening. Again, that shouldn't have really been a tough fight, and it was. And I just feel like as you step up and you do fight a world champion, sometimes it's an accident waiting to happen. I hope it's not, because she's probably one of the most likeable people in boxing you'd ever meet. So humble, even as big of a name she's so humble. So I hope not, but I just think that's it. I think sometimes, you know what it is, when people have been around boxing their whole life and they're proud men, like Steffi's achieved a lot in boxing as a pro, for Amir Khan and whatnot, they just don't like easy touches, because they've been there and done it the hard way. And he made a tweet about Caroline Dubois' next opponent, saying how it's just an easy touch, you're not going to learn anything from it. But you kind of do, you're learning from the experience. Like Caroline Dubois only had one pro fight, so of course she's learning from the experience of being a pro fighter, the smaller gloves, the pressure, the fans, everything. So of course she's learning. And she's learning in the gym all the time anyway. You don't always need to fight hard fights. But I totally understand where Steffi Bull comes from, because being around the pro game a lot, he's had a lot of champions, so he probably just doesn't like soft touches. I mean, from a fan perspective, that's probably what you want. That's a great person to have around in that kind of way. So.
Sound, Shane. I think we'll leave it at that. Your guy Solomon's having a bit of a warm-up, so we'll catch up with him next. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, bang on. Nice one.